Okay, freshman multimedia, here we go. This is part 2 for the intro to CSS. I had to divide this into 2 videos. So the first one showed the challenge for the first challenge for CSS, and this will be the second challenge. So going to Khan Academy, logging in with your BHS Night account, and getting into your computer programming. I'm going to go to Learner Home, and so here's my assignments. And so you want to go to the CSS stuff, which is on the second page, I believe. We already watched this video in the first one. We went over this. We did the colorful creature, so those show complete. And so this is what I developed in the first video. And so now we're going to do selecting by ID and then the challenge for seasonal IDs. So this is part 2 of the intro to CSS. So I'm going to click to the next. And then I'm going to press play on this video, and we will then do the exercise.
In this web page, we're using CSS to style our H2s and paragraphs so that all the H2s are green and all the paragraphs are purple. But what if we wanted to select just the first H2 or style just the second paragraph? We'd need to come up with a way to tell the browser exactly which of the elements we're selecting so that it didn't apply the styles to all of them like it is now. One way to do that is to select by ID. We can give a tag in our page a unique ID, and then we can tell CSS, listen here, I only want to apply these styles to the element with this ID, not to any of the other elements. To do that, the first step is actually modifying the HTML to add ID attributes to the tags we want to specifically select. Let's start with the second paragraph here. To add an ID attribute, we put our cursor in the start P tag, right after the P, then add a space, and then type ID equals quotes. Now we need to fill in this ID attribute with a value. What ID should I give it? Well, it should be descriptive and unique. Nothing else on this page should ever have the same ID. Well, since this is a song about rabbits, I'll call it rabbits-song. We can't have spaces in IDs, so if they have multiple words like this one, you should always use hyphens or underscores. I really like hyphens myself. Now we have a way of identifying this paragraph uniquely, so we can add a CSS rule targeting it. Let's go back up to our style tag for the second step. We'll add a new line after the last rule there. And now remember, the first part of CSS rule is the selector, the part that tells the browser what to select. In our previous rules here, we use selectors like H2 and P to select all of the H2 and P's on the page. Now to make a selector that only selects elements with a particular ID, we must start the selector with a hash sign. That tells the browser that whatever is coming next is an ID. Now we write our ID, rabbits-song. The rest of the rule is the same as before. We open and close our curly braces, we add a property, color, and ta-da! It worked. Only the song paragraph has the yellow background color and the first paragraph stayed the same. Let's do this again for selecting this first H2. Can you remember the first step? That's right, we need to actually modify this HTML to add the ID attribute. So we stick our cursor in the start tag, add a space, type ID equals, and then type a very unique and descriptive ID. So rabbits-info-heading. Okay, the second step, back up in our style tag. We add a new line, write the hash sign, then our ID, rabbits-info-heading, and then put our properties inside curly braces. So background, color, purple. Uh-oh, okay, it didn't work. Do you see what went wrong? Did I spell it the same way? Rabbits-info-heading, rabbits-info-heading. So they look pretty much the same. Now I could compare them letter by letter to figure out what's wrong, but what I like to do is just go down and select the ID in the HTML and copy it and then paste it in here to make sure it's exactly the same. And it worked. My H2 has a background. Now did you notice what changed? Maybe you did. It was the H here. The H used to be a capital H, which the browser does not consider the same. It has to be that lower H to match the HTML. That's because IDs are case sensitive, so you have to both spell them and case them the same way everywhere. I find it's best to just always use lowercase for every letter in my IDs, so I don't have to think about what casing I used when. Okay, now let me leave you with one last warning. IDs must be unique. If you have 2 tags on your page with the same exact ID, the browser might style both of them, but it also might style only one of them, and you don't want to leave that up to chance. Nice, unique, descriptive IDs.
Okay, so moving on. So she kind of told us how we could assign IDs to different elements of our web page, and we could actually do CSS commands by ID instead of the HTML tag element. So that's what we'll do in the next challenge. And so going to the challenge for seasonal IDs, the very first thing they tell us is color the winter heading. So this webpage describes the favorite seasons of Olaf, a sun-loving snowman. Both of the H2s, the H2 tags, have IDs, but there are no CSS rules for the styling for them. So add 2 rules that color the headings. So they do have their IDs right here. So H2, the ID is summer, and the other H2 ID tag is winter. So we want to make sure that in between our style tags, that's where we do our CSS coding, cascading style sheets. Emphasis on the word style, which is like colors and stuff. So now if we want to make the summer heading a different color, we're going to use the hashtag. So Shift 3 gives you the hashtag, and then we're going to put summer, and then we're going to do our curly bracket, and then we'll do color, and then colon, and then you can type like a common color like red if you wanted to, and we can do our closed bracket, and that should get us our Okay, so I've used the ID tag summer with the hashtag, and we have our curly bracket. We type the word color, we have the colon. We can type a common color like red, and then the semicolon, and then the closed curly bracket, and then our summer heading will be that way. And then if we want to do the winter heading, we can do again the hashtag, which is Shift 3. It's winter this time. I'm going to do my curly bracket. I'm going to do color, colon, and then let's do RGB. And if I do RGB quote, then I can do, oh, is it not going to come up with its editor? Oh, so I have to put in my own. So if I do like 0, 15, 32, and then my closed bracket, to do this. Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. I got to do the. So I'm going to take these out. I'm going to put the RGBs in there, and you can click from here in their editor. So let's say I want to do purple, and it's going to give me my RGB colors for that color. We're good to go. So now winter is that way. So our creature over here is a happy guy, so we are going to click finish challenge, and then I think that's gonna do it. So here again is how we save it. We click the spin off, we put our name and last initial, and then we save, and then it's going to load a shareable link for just your work, not the blank exercise. And we'll click share right there, highlight this, Control C to copy, and then if I go to Google Classroom right now, I'm going to go with my student account so I can show you how to turn it in. And so let's go to my 6th period 1, and this is coding view the assignment, and I'm going to add that link, which is part 2. I better go back and get the link for part 1 as well. So if I wanted to do that retroactively, I could do that. So right now that's the second link. I can go back here to my assignments and actually get the first one as well by clicking colorful creature and doing the same thing. So I have my finished web page. I do the spin-off and I press save, and I'm going to get the second link that I need for that assignment by clicking share right here. Making sure you've got the right screen when you can see your name right here that says created by. Okay, so that's the correct screen. Then we click share, then we get this link, then we go back to Google Classroom and we add our second link for the assignment because we wanted 2 challenges, the colorful creature activity and the seasonal IDs, and you'll turn it in from there. So that is how we do it. That is Intro to Coding CSS Part 1, the first 2 challenges. I'll see you back in class.